Okay, let's be real. Who hasn't dreamed of an easier way to learn something new? Like just downloading a new skill straight into your brain, Matrix style? It's such a tempting idea, and it leads to a question I bet we've all secretly Googled at some point.
Right? Can you really just go to bed and wake up speaking Spanish or Japanese or anything? I mean, think about it. Our lives are just so jam-packed with work and school and family. The idea of finding a magic shortcut, a way to learn without having to carve out more time from our already busy days, it's incredibly appealing.
And this is the dream, isn't it? It's the ultimate life hack. You just pop on some headphones, drift off to sleep, and let all that new information just seep into your brain. No effort, no struggle, just pure, simple magic. But, you know what they say, if it sounds too good to be true.
So let's take a closer look at this whole dream of sleep learning. Because for years, scientists have actually been really curious about this. They've studied the brain during sleep, they've run countless experiments, and they've come to a pretty crystal clear conclusion. So the simple answer is nope. You really can't learn a complex new skill, like a language, while you're asleep. Now, I know that might be a little disappointing to hear, but honestly, it's also really good news, because now we can stop wasting time looking for magic tricks and start focusing on the real methods that actually genuinely work.
So, to understand why that magic shortcut is a dead end, we need to get to the heart of how our brains actually learn. And it all comes down to one fundamental concept, the difference between active and passive learning. This right here is the real secret. First up, let's talk about passive learning. This is basically when you're just receiving information without doing anything with it. There's a brilliant analogy for this. Imagine you're a passenger in a car. Yeah, you're looking out the window, you see the world going by, but you're not actually driving. You're just along for the ride. It's like having the TV on in the background while you're cooking. Your ears hear it, but your brain isn't really plugged in.
Active learning, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. This is when your brain is lit up, it's working hard, it is fully engaged with what you're trying to learn. To go back to our analogy, now you're the driver of the car. You're the one with your hands on the wheel, paying attention to the road, making decisions. You are in control.
And here you can really see the difference side by side. Passive is just hearing sounds. Active is interacting with them. Pausing a movie to look up a word you don't know. The best analogy, though, is at the bottom. Passive learning is like watching 1,000 videos of someone riding a bicycle. You'll never, ever learn that way. Active learning is when you actually get on the bike yourself. Sure, you might wobble, you might even fall, but you are actually learning.
Okay, so we know the goal is to be the driver, to be on the bike, but how do we actually do that in real life? Well, let's build our active learning toolkit. These are real, practical techniques you can start using today. The first tool in our kit is a big one. Make it personal. Our brains are wired to remember things that are connected to our own lives, our feelings, our memories. So when you learn a new word, don't just write down some boring definition. Create a sentence about it that's true for you. That personal connection, it's like super glue for your memory. Tool number 2, you've got to interact with the material. Don't just be a passive consumer and let it wash over you. Give yourself a little job, a little task to do. Maybe your task is to jot down 5 key words from what you just heard. Or maybe you pause what you're watching and try to explain the main idea out loud, just to yourself. This simple shift turns you from an audience member into an active participant.
And our third absolutely crucial tool is a classic for a reason. Use it or lose it. Just learning a word isn't enough. You have to pull it back out of your memory. So try this, the 24-hour challenge. When you learn something new, a word, a concept, make a point to use it within one day. That final act of using it is what really locks it into your brain for good.
So these techniques are amazing, but they only work if you actually do them. And that's where so many of us fall down, right? The key isn't some burst of motivation, because we all know that comes and goes. The real key is building a routine, a habit.
And building that habit is so much simpler than you think. First, just find a small, quiet pocket of time in your day. Second, and this is so important, start small. I'm talking just 15 minutes. Consistency is way more powerful than intensity. And third, use something called habit stacking. Link your new learning habit to something you already do every single day, like making your morning coffee. After I pour my coffee, I will study for 15 minutes. It's that simple.
And look, here's what that can look like in practice. This isn't some punishing multi-hour schedule that's going to burn you out. It's a simple, balanced routine with tiny, manageable tasks. Just 15 minutes a day focused on a different skill. This is achievable. This is how you make real, steady progress that actually lasts.
So, let's bring it all back to where we started. We began with this dream of a magical shortcut, right? A way to just learn on autopilot. But what we've discovered is that the real path, the one that actually gets you to your goal, is something else entirely.
This right here captures the whole idea perfectly. Learning isn't about finding the path of least resistance. It's about finding the path that actually leads to your destination. And that path, the most effective path, is always the active one. So I'll just leave you with this question. Real learning is a journey, not a magic trick. Yeah, it requires some effort, but it's also rewarding in a way that no shortcut could ever be. So what magic shortcut are you willing to trade for the real, satisfying journey of active learning?